I'm Nikki Hamilton. Really great to have you here. I'm dropping in with a video this morning on how to make clear decisions. Because I don't know about you, but there are times in life where we are caught in indecision. Sometimes it can be that we're stalling with too many things or too many decisions to make in our mind. Sometimes it is that we are choosing between our head and our heart, like our heart really wants this, but the logical side says this. And sometimes it can mean that we don't make a decision and we stay stalled. So I would like to chat about this today, but before I get started with that, I just want to shout out to Narelle, Tracy and Julie, who have been with me online live this week with our 5 coaching sessions. I've been loving sharing some pieces with you guys in the morning. I will be running another 5 morning session block in August after my next retreat. Next announcement, I'm running a virtual retreat this weekend, which means you can jump online just 3 or 4 hours Saturday and Sunday to immerse, to be able to reset, to be able to get tools that you need to lead your life in a fulfilling way with calm confidence. So we will be going through how to manage overwhelm, how to calm stress, how to find clear direction. These are the steps that we'll be taking together. And that's this weekend. So if you're interested, just type me in the comments because I'd love to have you on board. But for today, let's get started on how to make clear decisions. Because like I said, there can be a problem at times in life where we are looping in indecision, where we're stalled, where we're not going anywhere because we can't seem to make a decision one way or another. And very often this can be linked to a split between what your head wants and what your heart wants. This is a common theme underneath, but usually often considering too many variables without really any clarity on what each step will create. So I want to go through 3 easy things to be able to consider, and hopefully that's valuable for you. The first step, number 1, first step is to get clear in your head, because I teach a way of being able to balance our head, which is our mind, our logic, and also our heart. Now, our heart contains our emotions, connections to other people, connections to something greater than us, our ability to communicate, to have compassion. Now, we need both. And they need to be operating like train tracks, moving in the same direction. And I call that, and it's called coherence. So being able to have coherence between your head and your heart is a really valuable skill. Now, too often our head is heading in one direction, our heart is heading in another, and we haven't got train tracks. We feel torn and things aren't moving forward. So the first thing is dealing with the head and the logic. I like to ask my coaching clients when they're in a space of indecision 4 key questions. I'm going to share 2 of them with you today just for time's sake to try and simplify this particular live. So obviously there's more to it. There's 4 questions, but let's just start with 2. The first step is to ask, what will happen if I do this? Now, here's the thing. You've already asked that. That'll be the thing that your brain most likely comes up with. But I would get clear, write it down. What will happen if I do this? And start to think about your answers in the realms of cost and benefit. What's the benefit of this? What's the cost of this? So what will happen if I do this? Now, very often that's where we stop. We don't ask anything further. But there are 3 other questions, and I'm going to share one of them with you. The next question to ask to clear the logical mind is, what will happen if I don't do this? If I don't do this, what will happen? And just write a list. Now, you're never going to be 100% sure about what will happen, but you can imagine in your mind maybe some outcomes. And again, think of them in terms of cost and benefit. So the logical mind likes logical sequencing. And so that's why I like to share the 4 questions. The first 2 being, what will happen if I do? What will happen if I don't? Because that is often a missing question that we don't consider. And when we get very clear on what will happen and when we don't, then we can start to look at our answers and just start to analyze in the logical space, what's the cost and what's the benefit of this? So that's step number 1, get clear in your logic. Step number 2 is to get clear in your heart. And here is what is needed in the heart to be able to make clear decisions. In the heart, we need to know what's important to us, what we value most, what lights up our soul. Because if you are moving in a way that is not congruent with what's important to you, your heart will make you stall. Your heart will say, this is not aligned with who I am. This is not aligned with who I want to be or become. So getting very clear on what's important to you, and you may even want to put on some music, make a cup of tea and just write down what's actually important to me in my life, what's important to me in different areas of my life. And once you have clarity on that, your heart has a voice. And then we start to say, actually, these decisions, are they aligned with those values or not? Now, once we get clear on what's important to us, the next thing to consider when making a decision is this decision what I call ecological or not? Does it harm others? And so what I mean by that is if you're thinking, maybe I should rob a bank, that's probably going to be a harmful thing to do to other people. So I know that you're not considering that, but when you're considering decisions, when we think about the heart, am I heading toward what value is valuable for me, what's important to me? Is this ecological? Is this harmful to others? Because when you're stepping into the realm of harming others, then it's never going to be a decision that's aligned with your best and others' intentions in mind. The last thing to do is to really understand that your heart is a feeling space. It's not a space for logic. Your logic belongs in your mind. So when you are trying to apply logic to the heart will rebel against that. So I then that's why I do the logical step first. Logical step is get all of the parts that I need out of my brain. What will happen if I do? What will happen if I don't? There are two other questions that I often share, but that's a great starting point. Cost and benefit. Now I've taken the logic aside, I'm going to sink into my heart now. Is this aligned to what I value, what's important to me? And what does it feel like? What does it feel like if I do make this decision? What will happen if I decide against this particular decision? And I try to emphasize in the heart, and here's what the heart knows, is that when it feels expansive, light, then we are heading in a direction that we need to within our hearts. If it feels compressed, dark, tight, then we've got to start questioning, hang on a minute, maybe this decision isn't aligned with my heart. So your heart will always feel expansive and light when it's growing in a direction that is valuable and important to you. Now, that's not to say it doesn't feel a bit scary, because who knows that anytime you step into growth, there's a level of uncertainty there. And when we're a bit uncertain, like we don't know what's going to happen, it can feel a bit apprehensive. And that's not to say it doesn't also feel light and expansive, but apprehension can be there. Don't mistake that for a no. I can't do that because it's apprehensive. That's not a reason. Any growth accompanies some level of apprehension because we're heading into an area that we're not necessarily certain or familiar with. But if it feels light, if it feels expansive, if it feels aligned with what you value and what's important to you, then your heart is on track. So 2 steps. Number 1, get clear in the logic. What will happen if I do? What will happen if I don't? Step number 2, get clear in your heart. What's important to me? Does it feel light and expansive? And even if it's a bit apprehensive, that's okay. If it feels light and expansive, then I need to head in that direction. Now, once we've made some decisions, the next thing to hurdle, and this is the 3rd step, is to hurdle the things that appear as roadblocks for us. And those roadblocks are pleasing other people, are procrastinating, thinking, look, I'll make this decision next week, next year, next month, next full moon, next Christmas, on the 1st of January. We postpone our fulfillment, and then we wonder why we're looping in resentment or overwhelm or sadness. It's like we need to be able to prioritize our fulfillment, not next week, next Christmas, but now. And so procrastination is the thing that we kind of say to ourselves, look, I'll wait for all my ducks to be lined up in a row. I'll wait for the perfect moment and then I'll make this decision. And guess what? There is no perfect moment. Life is messy sometimes. And so waiting for the perfect moment is a hurdle that needs to be overcome when we're making decisions. So the hurdles I commonly see are pleasing and prioritizing others, which means our heart gets smaller. We hesitate and we start to loop in that kind of like, what am I doing? I'm pleasing everybody else, but not myself. So can I hurdle pleasing others? Can I hurdle procrastination? Because these are common hurdles that we have when we're making a decision. And then can I get clear in my logic? can I get clear in my heart? So I hope that these 3 steps today have made you consider, or giving you some ideas around how I make decisions. So number 1, getting clear in your logic. Number 2, getting clear in your heart. Number 3, having the courage to overcome the hurdles that often present in the way of these decisions. People pleasing and procrastination are 2 of the common hurdles that I see.